This is Empty the Bench with Tom Albano.
As much as Dana White does not want to admit it, Conor McGregor is bigger than the UFC.
Nick Morganson.
Rob Manfred has no business running this league whatsoever because, one, he can't control the COVID outbreak. Two, he can't control domestic violence. Three, he cares about the money, not the players. There's going to be a lockout probably in the next year or two.
And Nick Federa.
This is what happens when you don't mandate vaccines. This is what happens when you have a low vaccine rate in your country. This is what happens with the Delta variant, and this is what happens when you prize money over human safety.
Empty the Bench starts now.
If I may use a spoonerism, it is a fuster cluck.
Well, who knew?
Fuster clucks.
Who knew that fuster cluck would be a new phrase that would come into the Empty the Bench dictionary?
Yes, indeed. For those of you who don't know, I'm Nick Federa. That's my co-host, Dick Morganson. We're filling in for Tom this week because he actually, he heard that Conor McGregor's leg was broken, and he actually tried to, go into the event and try to fix it, like the end of Karate Kid. We don't know how it's going to work, but we're going to assume that Tom got at least one thing thrown at him. So it'll be an interesting story. I'll tell you that.
I thought you were going to say like it was going to be like the Magic School Bus where he shrinks down the bus and goes inside somebody's body. And
like the Fantastic Voyage.
Yes.
He's basically just full of anger and cheap whiskey.
By the way, if you're looking for the show, twitch.tv/ETB Sports. Well, let's put it this way. I don't know how much longer we're going to be on Twitch, but we'll leave that when we get closer to episode 100. But right off the bat, we have a lot to get to. So, story number one. The NFL has informed clubs, this came out yesterday, that if a game cannot be rescheduled during the 18-week season in 2021 due to a COVID outbreak among unvaccinated players, keyword here, the team with the outbreak will forfeit.
Now, in theory, there's a big difference between theory and practice, as I'm sure all of you know. And it's a good idea in theory. In fact, it's a great idea. But is anybody going to actually have the balls to enforce this? I don't think so. Because, I mean, a lot of this is mandating a vaccine without actually physically, literally mandating a vaccine because they don't want to. I guess they don't want to open themselves up to any kind of lawsuits, even though any kind of lawsuit that would result from that.
What lawsuits? This is a private entity.
Any kind of lawsuit that would result from that would probably go straight in the toilet because the NFL as a private entity is not subject to, they're not subject to those kinds of rules and regulations that a public or a governmental organization might by mandating a vaccine.
Right. And that's the issue we run into here, where you have private entities like the NFL, Major League Baseball, NHL, NBA, soccer, anything that you get paid through contract, which is private entity, UFC included, as Tom would say, with all the Conor McGregor injury stuff. But I understand what Roger Goodell is doing, but at the same time, and I was saying to Nick before we got started here, the players are not doing it already. If you're going to force them to follow rules, it's going to make it worse that they don't follow the rules, right?
It is going to make it worse but the problem is that you are, again, by not mandating, capital M mandating you getting a vaccine, there's a lot of legal wiggle room for players to get out of it. By saying, oh, well, it's not mandated, so technically I can do whatever I want.
Well, let's go through the memo. So here's a few things. This is from Tom Pelissero of the NFL Network at SiriusXM, who broke it yesterday. Every club is obligated under the Constitution and bylaws to have its team ready to play at the scheduled time and place. A failure to do so is deemed conduct detrimental. There is no right to postpone a game. Postponements will only occur if required by government authorities, medical experts, or the commissioner's discretion. I mean, really? What are we talking about here that we have discretionary issues, right, Nick? Uh-oh, did Nick freeze? Uh-oh. As Nick is frozen, hopefully he comes back in a minute. But the issues we have is the NFL is just making it harder on its players to figure out, do I go this way? Do I go that way? And we'll get to some quotes when it comes to this whole situation. No, Nick, I think you're unfroze now. Yeah.
Yeah, thank God. Because we leave ourselves in a very have ourselves in a very weird situation because we don't again, because you can't capital M mandate it, there's a lot of wiggle room.
Right. But I just don't understand. Like, the players are pissed off. The players are in such a mode that they think, I'm not doing anything. I'm not going to follow any rules.
You can't make me, because we see that. We're going to get to it, but with DeAndre Hopkins.
Actually, you know what? I'm glad you brought that up. So this tweet here by DeAndre Hopkins, never thought I'd say this, but being put in a position to hurt my team because I don't want to partake in the vaccine is making me question my future in the NFL.
Then don't play. Because honestly, with these people, look, you've seen me go on anti-vaxxer rants, for quite a while on the show since we've gotten the vaccine. And I'm sick and tired of having these people treated with kid gloves. I really, really am, because it's like you're endangering your own health and you're endangering the health of your teammates who are immunocompromised or can't get the vaccine because your morals and your convictions mean more to you than the health of others. I mean, at a certain point, public safety and public health must take precedence over personal feelings. Am I right?
You're absolutely right. And Tom, who's not with us this week, actually said something really interesting. I read it to Nick before the episode. Now, I'll try to do my best to read around some of this because he got
a little salty.
So he said, F DeAndre Hopkins, Cole Beasley, and any other NFL player who, for all the hits and damage they take, are scared of a puny shot that can help the fight against COVID-19. You are the examples of people that ruin the fight and a return to more normal times for us. F you. So the way I think of this, and DeAndre Hopkins, ironically, what happened after he tweeted this? He deleted it. So obviously someone got in DeAndre Hopkins' ear and said, Psst, stop! Maybe you shouldn't have tweeted that. Maybe you have itchy Twitter fingers. Maybe you shouldn't have tweeted that.
Please don't do that. Please don't do that.
And by the way, for guys like DeAndre Hopkins and Cole Beasley, if you don't like it, then leave.
At a certain, I wouldn't, you know what? At a certain point, you just got to say, you know what? Leave. Fine. You know what? That's what you want. Your convictions which stem from tinfoil hat conspiracies. Let's not mince words here, because they think that the vaccine is going to magnetize you or summon the aliens that are buried deep beneath the Earth's crust or something, or you think that it's somehow communicating with your past. I don't even know. It's real tinfoil hat stuff. If you're going to do that, then fine, leave. We don't need you.
It's all conspiracy theory, like you said. And in my opinion, hey, DeAndre, if you don't like it, the way the league is doing things, I mean, trust me, you and I don't like the way the league is running itself.
Oh, no, believe me, we've got plenty to complain about how the way the league does things, even in this case.
But what I would say about DeAndre Hopkins, hey, DeAndre, if you ever listen to this puny podcast that we do, go leave. Nobody's looking for you. How about that? You're an ignorant asshole who doesn't give a crap about health. And Roger Goodell, when he comes out and when he puts out a memo, you know he's serious when he puts it to a memo where he says, here's the deal. No extra week for COVID cases this year. So if your team, as an unvaccinated player, causes an outbreak, you're forfeiting towards your playoffs, and you have to pay the economic component for both teams if a game is not played.
this is going to cause. I don't know if it's going to cause a full civil war within NFL locker rooms this year. But then again, I mean, wasn't there a tweet this morning saying that most clubs were past or close to 90% this week?
Yes, I have it here. Mike Garafolo for the NFL Network put it out earlier that NFL Chief Medical Officer Alan Sills says 80% of players have taken at least one COVID-19 shot, 9 teams over 90%, and only 5 teams at less than 70%. Now, so what doesn't make sense, and it confuses me, is if that's the case, why did the memo have to come out, and why did Roger Goodell have to put out an empty threat?
I don't know. I mean, that is a good point. But still, I mean, 80% is only still one shot, so you have to get both. You have to get both shots if you're getting the Moderna or the Pfizer.
This is the same issue we're having in Major League Baseball, where we just had a COVID outbreak of 6 players with the Yankees and 4 with the Colorado Rockies. You're going to have athletes who think they're above the COVID-19 shots.
Well, are you saying that you don't believe those statistics?
No, I'm saying that you're going to have players that just don't believe in the vaccine, like we've been saying. And so what's going to happen is you're never going to reach a herd immunity status because players are just going to say,
it's going to be that much much more difficult to do. It's up to them about whether they let this become just a minor annoyance or an albatross hanging around your neck all year.
And the one thing I'll say, and then we'll move on, is what I said to you, Nick, before the episode. Roger Goodell and the NFL will kill over before they allow a game to be forfeited.
They will kill over. I mean, because it's money out of his pocket, right?
That's my point.
Because if you're interfering with his profit, you are pretty much an obstacle to be eliminated in his mind.
And that's what I mean. So it's an empty threat because he's not going to allow money to come out of his pocket. That's bullshit. We know that.
Yeah, we know that.
All right. So we'll update you as this goes along. But Nick, are you ready to are you ready to get in the fetal position, possibly? So,
oh God,
here we go.
Oh God,
the Olympic Organizing Committee. Now, this is kind of a little bit old because this has been updated since now and then because the torch ceremonies have officially gotten underway at what they're calling Tokyo 2020 Olympic Games at this point.
Because in a pandemic, nobody knows what time is anymore. You know what? Is it too late to get down into the fetal position? I don't know if I can. I don't know if I can maybe maneuver myself here. Maybe close enough to a fetal position.
But there's a lot of issues now. So since we last spoke about this issue, I heard that we're up over 70 COVID cases in the Olympic Village in Tokyo, and they're still going along. They started the basketball games. They started baseball, softball, because I think those aren't played directly in Tokyo. I think they're played outside the city. But at the same time, I said to you, Nick, they're almost at 2,000 a day, where they were in January in COVID cases.
Which is right. It's right. But at a certain point, you do need to realize, though, short of every single athlete in the Olympic Village getting sick, you're not going to see the Olympics getting canceled. They are going to come hell or high water. They are going to have this Olympics. They should not. I agree that they should not. But you know what? They've spent the IOC and Japan has spent billions of dollars trying to get this done the right way, and they failed at that. But you know what? They're going to try anyway.
But wait,
I spent all this money. I might as well do it.
What was it, like $51 million in commercials for the Olympics? And
I don't friggin' know.
And the other thing is Toyota pulled out as one of the major sponsors of the Olympics. And guess what? Toyota is a Japanese company.
So what does that tell you about this whole endeavor, folks?
So you have those issues. You have a bunch of athletes who are testing positive. Coco Gauff for the tennis team in the USA officially tested positive.
So, ladies and gentlemen, it's a wash. Seriously, you can't. Yeah. Can we just pack it up and prepare for the Winter Olympics at this point?
No. Well, it's like Tom said. I'll go back to something he said a couple episodes ago. If you're having an issue with all these COVID cases. How can you hold the winter one if we can't get through this one with all the positive cases?
Exactly. Which means something has to change, doesn't it?
I feel like the IOC, and you're probably going to agree with me on this too, the IOC is more corrupt than soccer.
They give FIFA a run for their money. And FIFA are basically an organization of mid-tier Bond villains.
Right. And I just don't get the Olympics. I told you before we started, I love the Olympics. I watched the basketball. I watched the baseball, the softball, the swimming.
The shot put, the discus.
I could
the super chugging competition.
And pardon my French, but I could give two shits about the Olympics this year.
Yeah, because it was not the right place or the right time. Through no fault of their own, but they've made it worse. They've made it exponentially more. There are painless ways to do this, and they assiduously avoided every single one of them.
And this is what I don't understand. So I was looking at some of the pictures from the Olympics Twitter account. It looks ridiculous that there's no one in the stands during the opening ceremonies.
It looks like a funeral.
Right, and I understand. I'm not saying they should put fans there.
And not to be morbid or to make light of the situation of people that have suffered and died in this pandemic. But
by the way, Japan and China are probably the two worst places when it comes to the COVID-19 cases and deaths, probably in this situation.
Well, we're not far behind in that regard. USA.
Wow, talk about morbid. But
because you know what, it comes from a place of frustration, Tom. It comes from a place of frustration. It comes from a place of frustration, Nick. And it just I'm speaking to Tom too, because this is just ridiculous. It's ridiculous that we've gone this far and we haven't been able to get a lid on it.
And you know what's so weird? Like, we talk about the whole college athlete issue, that they're getting paid for everything. Why aren't we paying Olympic athletes?
Oh, we pay them in exposure. Don't you know that?
Oh,
you're basically giving them the same argument that I got when I was a college intern.
Well, right, and so was I. I didn't get paid to intern, but basically,
we're paying you an experience.
Well, yeah, but I was going to say,
and that phrase is enough to make me break out in hives.
But I was going to say, like, you have to feel bad for some of these athletes that go to the Olympics and train hard because
they train for years and years to be able to get to go and to be a part of this.
And the sponsors are what pay them. So
this how shall I put it? If I may switch to Yiddish, a shanda. It's a shanda.
Right. So if there's no sponsors and there's no Olympics, they're making no money. So that's the problem. Like, we're saying to cancel it for health reasons, not because of money and economic situations. But another wrinkle, and Nick, you're going to love this. So Kentaro Kobayashi, who just replaced the other person who was in charge as the creative director of the Olympics opening ceremony, dismissed for making fun of the Holocaust in his comedic act.
Okay, so there are certain things you just don't joke about. I think the Holocaust is one of them.
I'm getting severely frustrated about the way the Olympics is being handled. This is just the cherry on top of the BS Sunday that's going on at the Olympics.
Get yours at Friendly's today. It's the BS Sunday.
So I don't know what to say about this. Like, are you freaking kidding me?
Nothing surprises me at this point, kiddo.
But you're the director of the freaking Olympics opening ceremony. Internationally based.
You know what? The only thing that would have been worse is had he come out doing a horrible offensive racist stereotype, which, give him 5 minutes, he probably would have come up with. I
mean, what's next? Is he going to do that stereotypical thing where he takes his fingers and puts them in his eyes? And
yeah,
I mean, actually, his argument would be he could do that because he's Asian, right?
Ladies and gentlemen, we're supposed to be talking about athletics when we're talking about the Olympics, right? We're not supposed to be talking about all these things, right?
Right. I mean,
I mean, it's been so long that we've actually been able to talk about athletics in the Olympics that I fear I've forgotten what it's actually about.
You know what? To be quite honest, and I'm sure I'm going to make a viral clip out of this, so I'll just say it anyway. But the Olympics are a mess. Do not watch the Olympics. I'd rather watch paint dry than watch the Olympics at this point.
You get more out of watching paint dry at this point.
I mean, at least you'd be getting some value or money proposition out of paint drying than the Olympics at this point.
Hey, plus you could get sponsorship money from Home Depot or Lowe's.
That's right, because Toyota, the one Japanese company that was getting behind the Olympics in Japan, decides to pull out. I mean, I don't get it, Nick. I really don't. The way this whole situation is, you have the COVID cases, now you have a political situation. You have people making fun of the Holocaust. This is just name. If you were to come up with a hypothetical scenario, but the worst things that could happen during an Olympics, these scenarios would probably be on your list, not at the top of your list, because the worst thing that could happen. Oh God, I don't even want to think of that. And you know what? And you know what? The Olympics is supposed to be prestige, right? That's what we think of the Olympics, where
prestigious,
right? Where everyone says, "Oh, I qualify for the Olympics. I'm going to be a gymnast. I'm going to be a swimmer. I'm going to be playing for the basketball team. I'm going to be playing for the baseball team." Like, it's supposed to be a prestigious honor.
You were on a box of Wheaties. It used to mean something. Damn it!
I mean, we went from it being an honor to this. I mean, that's what I think of the Olympics this year. It's a big Curb Your Enthusiasm nightmare. All right, let's moving along. Let's go to something a little more positive. So,
no, this was originally what we were going to start the show off with, but now we've got a chance to talk about it. The Milwaukee Bucks are your newly minted National Basketball Association champions, beating the Phoenix Suns 4-2, and Giannis Antetokounmpo is your MVP. And thank God they learned how to say his last name right.
Yeah, Giannis Antetokounmpo. You really saw some people just butchering that name. Why do you think
he's been around the league long enough where I think you know how to say it.
8 years to be precise. But why do you think they call him the Greek Freak? Because they don't want to say his full name at this point. But
or just Giannis.
What's incredible, by the way, and I said this to the guys, I think it was on Wednesday, 50 points in Game 6, 50 years since they won their last championship in 1971.
It's symmetry. It binds together. It meshes like a little clock. But you know what it is? It aside from the fact that it was an absolutely monumental performance out of him, I mean, what the hell happened to Monty Williams? I thought he was good at coaching defense.
Well,
I mean, you don't put a wall around that man. What do you think is going to happen?
What's so crazy is the NBA Finals and the playoffs are a game of runs, where basically you win a few games, you lose a few games, and you play off momentum. The Suns were up 2-0 in the series in dominating fashion, and then they didn't win a game for the rest of the finals. I mean, it's crazy. And you know what? I got to give Chris Middleton some credit in this series as well. The two of them are the new number 1 and 2 Batman and Robin duo in the NBA. Sorry, LeBron and Anthony Davis. It's over. It's over.
I mean, yeah. But then again, I mean, you got to give credit where credit is due to Drew Holiday.
Oh, yeah. Oh, I even forgot about Drew Holiday. Drew Holiday, who's mostly a defensive player, that's no knock. That's what he does well. He put up more points than I was expecting in this series. He really came to play, and he really held down Chris Paul. Chris Paul, who fell apart after Game 2, and just his points like fell off a mountain. It's like that game in The Price is Right where the
Plinko,
where he climbs up the hill, but then he falls off.
I think that's what it's called. Is that what it's called?
I think it's called the polka. Yeah, and he just fell off the cliff. I think he was still hurt, by the way. Like, he just looked hurt. throughout.
He definitely was hurt. He was not at 100%, but still, I put it to you, and I've seen this question put all over Sports Talk Radio in the couple of days since Game 6. Does his title, Giannis, does Giannis's title in Milwaukee mean more than LeBron's title with titles with the Heat, or his title with the Lakers, or any kind of super team title? Because Giannis, you'll remember, had a chance to hit free agency a couple of times and signed a Supermax deal and said, I'm staying here. I'm planting my flag. This is my city. And he even said after the game that this is my, it means more to do it like this. I'd rather do it like this than chase a championship. My point is, my question is, do you agree with that? Does it mean more that he did it here?
Absolutely. Of course it means more that he did here. I mean, first of all, this championship is way better than any LeBron championship in Miami or LA or Cleveland. Well,
Cleveland, no. Because Cleveland, you can't say that because it had been like 60 years, and he had come back home and brought a title to his hometown team. So you can't say that.
Yeah, but in Cleveland,
I know you've got LeBron bias. But
Time out. He had Kevin Love though in Cleveland.
I know he had Kevin Love. It was still a super, but he came. But that was his hometown team.
Okay,
I'm talking about if
I'll give you it.
If Brooklyn had won the title, this year, of course, that you're a Brooklyn fan, so that would create kind of a moral dilemma, wouldn't it?
Yeah, I mean, Giannis, this was definitely one for the record books, to be quite honest. And Giannis, which, by the way, I don't know if you saw the reports, when he injured himself earlier in the playoffs, his leg, they said, turned 15 degrees the wrong way. And literally they said, right, and they said that he almost was not going to play the rest of the playoffs. If he didn't play the rest of the playoffs, the Suns probably would have ran away with the rest of the playoffs at that point. So
the man's made a steal at this point.
Right. And to score 50 points in an absolute amazing performance in Game 6, it just shows how much of a amazing star that he is. And by the way, he is the new number one.
I was going to say that. He has been the best player in the NBA for a while now. But now you have the hardware to back it up.
Move over Kevin Durant. Move over LeBron James. Giannis is your new number one.
And you love Kevin Durant. That's something.
I like Kevin Durant. I like him for on the court. I don't know if I really like him off the court. But I think Giannis has the whole package on and off the court. He's funny off the court. Did you see the Chick-fil-A video?
Yeah, he live streamed. He live streamed ordering Chick-fil-A. He's so excited to be everywhere.
And by the way,
I'm an NBA player, and that's awesome.
Did you see the half lemonade, half Mountain Dew drink he ordered? Also, that was kind of weird.
Wow. Although that kind of makes sense.
I mean, it's 2 lemon drinks, right? So,
I've seen weirder combinations with Mountain Dew, so I can't really begrudge him that.
That reminds me of that whole Mountain Dew and Doritos concoction they tried to make up, but that's not a story for now. We can tell that story another time. But
God, you're making me choke.
We actually did that when I was at a radio station. We actually brought that concoction into the radio station, and we did it. It was the funniest. Oh. It tasted so good, but it smelled so bad.
Dude, what?
That's a story we could tell, like when we move over to YouTube and we have some time to tell some stories behind the scenes, we can do that. But it's just, this was amazing. This, first of all, Fear the Deer and the 65,000 fans that were outside and inside the arena. It was incredible. Their fans were amazing.
And the city deserves it. I mean, Milwaukee hasn't won anything. And I think in about what? Shit,
it's been forever. Last time the Packers won a Super Bowl, but
yeah.
But it's just crazy. Milwaukee came in full force, and they showed that they wanted to win. By the way, it was 2011 for the Packers. So,
All right, so it hasn't been that long, but the Bucks, it's been 50 years.
So just let's be happy for the Bucks. And the Suns just fell apart. Devin Booker, by the way, 2 40-point performances, and they didn't win in either of those games. If that doesn't show you something, I don't know what does. And we don't have time for it, but I'll quickly say Chris Paul, player option at $44 million coming up this offseason. And no, he's not going to the Knicks, so do not say it.
But I want to say it.
Because you know it's not going to happen.
I know.
All right.
Green candy.
All right, we got 2 more quick stories. Speaking of the candid one in Green Bay land, Aaron Rodgers rejects a 2-year extension. I don't know why we're all surprised by this. This is literally the most obvious thing. He already had 3 years left on his contract. You think he's going to accept a 2-year extension after being upset?
Because this is a Packers problem, not a money problem. And I look, I may be alone in saying this. In fact, I may be the only man saying this, but is it really that outside of the realm of possibility that he's doing all this because he wants to leave and host Jeopardy?
He's not. Okay, you're like the 20th person to ask me this already. The answer is no. He's not going to host Jeopardy. First of all, he's got so much money left on that contract on those 3 years. He's not giving it up. I'm telling you, he's not giving it up.
I mean, I think a personnel change is what he's really after.
Right.
But it seems like he genuinely does not want to play in Green Bay anymore.
I don't think he wants to deal with Matt LaFleur anymore either.
Well, he brought in Matt LaFleur. Well, he didn't like Mike McCarthy, and they gave him what he wanted.
You know what this is, Nick? This is Dwight Howard syndrome all over again, where Dwight Howard didn't like Stan Van Gundy. He got him kicked out. And that was the end of that. He didn't
like the other guy he brought in.
Right. So it doesn't matter. When you're a star, you get whatever you want. I mean,
and Aaron Rodgers will get whatever he asks for.
And to be quite honest, I've said this forever and no one ever does it. Force him to sit out. Don't give in to his demands. Make him sit out for the whole year.
And they called Le'Veon Bell all manner of unflattering nicknames when he did it.
They called Le'Veon Bell's bluff, though.
But nobody's going to do the same if Aaron Rodgers holds out.
No, but that was my point. You made my point, actually, that they called Le'Veon Bell's bluff, and he sat out.
But nobody's going to call Aaron Rodgers, oh, he's selfish, or he's ungrateful, or he's a thug, or he's this, or he's that. But I wonder why he's not doing that. But still, I'm getting off topic here. The point here is that he seems to want to end this relationship, and I don't think the Packers or Packers management has realized that yet.
That's what's so crazy. And also another part of this story, which Tom was busy on the breaking news earlier before the show, that according to Rappaport, or who was it? Yeah, Ian Rappaport.
Ian Rappaport, yeah.
The Packers and wide receiver Davante Adams have broken off long-term extension talks. Now, should we really be surprised by this news?
I mean, no, but would it surprise me that Davante Adams might follow Aaron Rodgers out the door? No, also no.
That's what I think is happening. You know how quarterbacks
have the writing on the wall. He knows.
Quarterbacks usually have their tandem wide receiver that they really like. He likes Davante Adams.
And Davante Adams likes playing for him. So, you know what? He knows where his bread is buttered. And he don't want to go playing for no Jordan Love.
And you know what? To be quite honest, if the Packers were smart, they would make a package out of it and send it somewhere.
I mean, that would definitely cause seismic shockwaves through the NFL. But would any team other than John Gruden coached ones go for it?
Well, I would say if they can get 2 or 3 first-round picks out of somebody, then maybe worth it.
Yeah, but a package like that, even if Aaron Rodgers is slightly over the hill, that would make Gruden's day. He would shoot out of bed for that.
We'll see what happens with the Packers. All right, last one. Luke Prokop becomes the first player in the NHL to come out as gay.
So, like we said before with who was it that came out a couple weeks ago?
Oh, I know who you're talking about, but I can't.
Why am I blanking on his name?
I'm sure we'll find it. But this was incredible. He came out on. Oh, you're talking about the NFL player for the Raiders.
Yes. Oh, Nassib.
Nassib, right? But this was incredible because Prokop actually put out a video. I think Nassib put out a video too, right?
Yeah, he did.
But this is incredible. Like Prokop, like really let people know.
I really wish it would. Again, I really wish this wouldn't have to be a story. I really wish people would just accept it so it wouldn't have to be a thing. But
here it is.
I'm really hoping that first of all, I'm really hoping that he gets called up by Nashville because he's technically in the AHL. But
well, he's got an NHL contract though.
He's got an NHL contract, but I'm hoping that this doesn't deter Nashville from bringing him up. I mean, it shouldn't. It absolutely shouldn't.
They already said that the full team is in full support.
And I'm and I hope that's true. I absolutely hope that's true.
I hope they're not hiding behind that statement. I hope.
Yeah, I really hope they're not either.
But Prokop came out and made a few statements saying, being able to be truly who I am, this is the best I've ever felt in the summer. And I think a large part of that is due to the process of me coming out. And I think he did a one-on-one on ESPN where he was talking about how this was literally affecting how he was getting ready for NHL seasons because
he needed to do exactly what was the best for him. And to be honest with you, it's a beautiful thing. I mean, I can't think of anything wrong with this.
And I think you're absolutely right. This shouldn't have to be news.
This shouldn't have to be a thing.
We shouldn't have to say every time.
Not that there should be no gay players because that'd be bigoted. But still, I think we need to have more acceptance of a non-heteronormative lifestyle in professional, meaning Big Four sports.
I mean,
there need to be more gay people. There need to be more trans people. There need to be more of everybody. Because if it's just white people, then it's boring.
It's like what you said, and we talked about the movements during the protests when the black players were standing up against everything, or not. That's not how I meant to say it, but like standing up against racism and getting
institutional racism.
Right. Well, this is the same thing where let people do with their lives what they want to do with their lives. If you don't like it, there's the door. Walk out. Okay.
Yeah, exactly. So, at a certain point, it's who is he hurting by coming out as gay?
He's not hurting nobody.
He's not hurting anybody. Really,
so,
be whoever you want to be as long as you're not an asshole.
Right. So just everyone's got to take it down a notch. If you want to be gay, be gay. You want to be lesbian, bi, whatever.
Trans, be whoever you want to be.
Be the best person you can be is the way I would put it. And
we should put that on a sticker.
I know that sounded a little soapbox and cliche, but no, but it's true. Be the best person. Be the best person you can be. And we're allowed to have opinions on certain things, but this is not something you should have an opinion on.
You're infringing on somebody living their life. That's not,
So.
Yeah, that's not right.
Wow, Nick, we got through this whole episode in about 40 minutes.
And we didn't go off the rails, and we did go off the rails, but still.
Just a quick announcement, just so people know what's going on. We are working on updating the show. I think we're going to be moving from live to possibly doing some tape stuff on YouTube. We'll get more into it as we get closer to episode 100.
We will have more to announce when we get closer to episode 100, but we will be instituting some format changes, but we will let you know when we are finished working out the kinks. We're kind of in the garage on this one, working on the different forms that this show can take, and it's gonna be a lot of fun.
So just stick with us, follow the show at ETB Sports, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and I don't know how much longer we're gonna be on Twitch, but we'll be here for a few more weeks at least.
Yeah, I think we'll be here. We ain't going to. You ain't getting rid of us that easily.
Yeah, we're not like the COVID-19 vaccine. We want you to take us in, not ignore it.
Yep.
So for Nick Federa, I'm Nick Morganson. Good night, everybody.
Good night, everybody!
This
It'd be nice if I played the right thing.